thinking about how much is happening inside our bodies that we don't know about simply because we haven't felt anything yet. Wondering if our watches and wearable devices can collect information about our heart rate, sleep, movement, and other health patterns. Could artificial intelligence actually recognize when something's begin to change? Asking, what if we didn't always have to wait for symptoms? What if technology could help us alert us that something may be of need our attention before it becomes a health crisis? Imagining what that could mean for our seniors, for our pockets, for people living in chronic conditions and disabilities, for caregivers trying to look after the people they love, and for the country like the Bahamas, where access to healthcare isn't always simple, as driving 20 minutes down the road, you might have to jump on a boat or on a plane. So, could we be moving towards a future where healthcare isn't only about treating us after we get sick, but helping us understand what happens before we get sick? Can AI alert us before we get sick? Now that's something to think about.
Something to think about with Dale Happy Knowles. What we think, we become. What we radiate, we attract. What we imagine, we surely can achieve. Let's change the narrative, 242.
Welcome to Something to Think About with Dale Happy Knowles. My voice is going crazy today. This is one of those things that you get after you have all these years on this earth. Some things happen when you go and, they mark you up, they poison you, and they burn you up, and then life takes its course. So bear with us tonight, please. Do. Let us know where you're at, what you're thinking, and what you want to do. So tonight we have this lovely lady who's on a screen right now. I don't know if you can see her good, but I can see her good. So let us know if you're all in straight. And she is Mrs. Corlette Deveaux. And Corlette, what I wanted to highlight tonight, you are on the cutting edge of digital and making digital applicable in our lives. And so we welcome you, something to think about. And we know that you're going to give us a lot of information on technology, AI, and prevention, because you have a wealth of information. So tell us a little bit about your journey thus far and why you are on this present, I wouldn't say crossroads, but on the present hill that you're moving up the hill to get to the tippity top.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Happy. It is an absolute pleasure to be on your show this evening. Well, I'll tell you my journey. I am Bahamian, born and raised in Nassau, Bahamas, proud to be Bahamian. And as I was growing up, I was raised to believe that it was my responsibility to care for my parents. Mm-hmm. And as I got older, my parents got older, and it got to the point where my mother needed to have care. I was not able to be here in the Bahamas to help care for her. I did have someone living with her to care for her. But something happened that really was the turning point for me. And she was hypertensive, did not like taking her medication like so many others, and she had a mild stroke. With that mild stroke, she was on the floor for many hours. Without being found. When she was found, she was taken to the hospital and she didn't come out alive. That was very, very painful. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that's gone through this, but going through this myself, I understand the pain. But what that also brought to the forefront for me was that there's an opportunity to help others like my mother, who one, have chronic diseases, two, who do not like taking their medication, and three, who may fall. We could have possibly, if health intelligence was available back then, we could have recognized that my mother may have been having subtle changes in her body that no one knew.
Right.
My background is I have 25 years of experience in pharmaceutical sales, working for companies like Pfizer, Novartis, Alcon Labs, moving around the United States, working for them in a number of different capacities. When I left pharmaceutical sales in 2014, I finally figured out what my life's purpose was. And my life's purpose that I figured out was to care for others, to serve others. So I immediately, 1 year after I left pharmaceuticals, I opened up an adult daycare facility, a house that cared for 65 seniors and adults with disabilities every day. That absolutely brought me joy. Every day, I had 65 adults with disabilities along with seniors. So it was a mixture of both. People said, oh, that's not going to work. I said, why not? The seniors love the young folks. The young folks love caring for the seniors. So it worked out very well. So that was my journey into really doing what I wanted to do, to care for others in that capacity. I eventually sold that business because I felt that 65 people were not enough for me to care for. I had a bigger mission to help more than 65 people. So when I sold that, I went around the country helping others open up senior facilities, training, caring, and just helping make a difference. And then about 4 years ago, right after my mother passed away, someone came to me and said, hey, let's do something together. And I did my research and I recognized that there are so many people that are dying unnecessarily. And when I say unnecessarily, or I would say from avoidable complications and issues, that was a pain point for me because I felt that that was the situation that happened to my mother. It was something that was avoidable. And when I say avoidable, the question is, why do we wait until that heart attack, that stroke? Why do we wait until something happens for us to move? If we see the train coming, would we move out the way so we're not hit?
Right.
We have our vehicles. What do? Every 3,000 miles, 4,000 miles, we change the oil. We take the engine to be checked up, and we try to maintain that engine before it breaks down. Why don't we do the same thing with our health? Because what happens is when you have that ticking in your car and your engine, you're like, oh, I got to check that out, something. I don't want this engine to break down. We put so much energy into fixing everything else. When it comes to ourselves and our health, we ignore it. We ignore those subtle signs. We ignore the slight headache. We ignore the fatigue. We ignore, and we wait. We wait for that explosion, and that explosion is what hurts us. Why do we not pay attention to those little subtle signals? So we have developed something, my team and I have developed something that will allow us to look and to identify subtle changes in your body on a continuous basis. Because the reality is, 99% of the time that we live our life is not in the doctor's office, right?
Right. Yeah.
No.
So we're gonna dive into that in greater depth, right? So and so forth. But I wanted to frame the show because we always have a quote that something to think about, things about, which we have to keep in the back of our minds as we go through the under the three conversation we have here tonight. And we normally ask our audience 2 questions, but we'll ask one today. And so the thought is that the smartest country may not be the one with the most technology, but the one that uses technology to take better care of its people. And so when we think about that, then the question that we have for the audience is, when you hear that statement, what does a truly intelligent healthcare system look like for you? Because we want you to think about that, because as we have this conversation, we want you to ask questions, right? Because I'm sure 25 years in places that Corlette has mentioned that she has worked. I mean, some of these places are top-notch places. She has answers that she probably didn't even think she had, right? It's just going to float to the top. And so we're going to have a joyful conversation here tonight, right? So awesome stuff. So let's start with some simple things. You around the world, we want to welcome you. Thank you for joining us. And we love that you are always a part of something to think about. You shoot us the questions on the side. We want you to ask them during the show too, so the benefit of the guests can answer them and not just me trying to rack my brain, trying to figure out if I could find them afterwards, and also answer the questions through YouTube or whatever else, right? Because I don't know everything. They know everything. I just hear talking, right? So let's start with the first question I have for this young lady here on the screen. And that would be, when you imagine a healthcare system that truly takes better care of its people, what does that system look like and feel like for you?
Well, a healthcare system is one that provides the people to have the opportunity to have continuous monitoring and oversight of their health. So what does that mean? Mm-hmm. That means every day there should be something that pulls your information and monitors your health on a daily basis continuously, because 1% of your life is in the doctor's office. And 99%, who is really overseeing your health? Because the bulk of the incidences that happen occur when you're out living your best life. So how can the healthcare system support you by giving us something that will monitor and oversee our health and use the information intelligently? Mm-hmm. It's not just a matter of having data on your wrist. Everybody has data. We have data overload. But what are we doing with that data? We need to take that data and use it intelligently. And what does intelligent mean? That means if I now have all of this data about my blood pressure, my sleep patterns, my hydration levels, my steps, everything, why can't you put them all into a system to really do an assessment continuously about everything that's going on with me? Everything is going on with you. Right. So if my blood pressure is high and I'm fatigued, let's wonder why. Instead of just having data and you're getting data and nobody's doing anything with it. Right. That's the responsibility of our healthcare system.
So that would be like when I was in the hospital the other day for pneumonia, and they had all these things hooked up to me and monitoring me from the desk and blah, 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 and stuff like that. Basically, like we have our security system in the houses and businesses. It will be doing the same thing. And somebody, most of the time it'll be yourself, but somebody can get alerts as to what is happening, right? Because I saw this video the other day, a webinar of some doctor was saying that most strokes, the warning signs is like 3 or 4 days before. And if you don't know what the warning signs are, you might not know stroke is coming. And so if you knew what it is, then you might be able to be in a position to avoid it, which is what we're talking about tonight. So, let's put that in perspective as you go along.
And you're right. And that's what the health intelligence platform that we have built does. Mm-hmm. It looks at all of the subtle changes that's occurring in your body. And it's taking that information and it is assessing, looking at all these different variables. And those variables tell a story. Mm-hmm. So that when there's any irregularities based on you specifically, then there's an automatic alert that goes to your family members that says, ding, 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 ding. Mm-hmm. There might be an issue coming up with Happy. check on Happy.
Yeah.
Okay. So your family members will check on you. If they care, they will check because they got an alert. If it's, and in our case, our system identifies yellow alerts and red alerts.
Okay.
The yellow alerts are the train's coming slowly, you have time to get out the way.
Mm-hmm.
The red alert is like the train is about to hit you, go now to the hospital.
Right.
So there are different levels of alerts to help you to prevent that being hit by the train.
Right.
What happened to my husband, Happy, when he had a stroke a couple months ago. And the reality is, when he had the stroke, the day before, our system told him that he was going to have a stroke.
Wow.
Because it
The
showed.
doctor was right then. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It showed, and it actually didn't show that he was having a stroke. Let me clarify that. What the system showed was that his heart rate was irregular, and it dropped to 58, it dropped to 53, and it sent alerts out. 24 hours later, he had that stroke. And here's where intelligence really becomes important. When he had the stroke, he was able to show the emergency room doctor his vitals that was in our system the day before. And the doctor used that intelligence to quickly treat him while he was having a stroke.
Right.
What that told the doctor is, because it was his heart rate that was irregular the day before, then the clot was in his heart. The issue was in his heart.
Right.
And they gave him blood thinners.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what intelligence is about. Intelligence is about knowing things before it happens, looking at the full picture, and looking at 1 + 1 = 2.
Right.
So you don't want to take things in silos or in isolation, because you essentially don't get sick in your doctor's office.
No.
Okay?
And you don't remember your sicknesses when you get to the doctor's office. It seems like something is wiped you clean, and you say, "Oh, nothing wrong with me," and you don't remember to tell them half of the things you're supposed to be telling them.
That's exactly correct. That's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So, we want to be sure that we provide this intelligence, an overview, an oversight of your health 24 hours a day.
Right.
Not just once a day, not just twice a day, because you don't know when that once a day is going to be. You don't know when the changes are going to happen. At night, when you're taking a shower, you don't know. So it has to be ongoing, continuously.
Right. So where does health intelligence fit into the vision, and how is it different from simply collecting more health data?
So it's like, you think about numbers, you just throw a bunch of numbers on the screen.
Okay.
But if you those numbers and you put them in chronological order, then you now have a better picture. If you remember the old game we used to play called Connect the Dots?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you see a bunch of numbers on the page, but if you connect those dots, you get to see what that picture is.
Right.
So it's like having data, just throwing it on the page means nothing until you connect the dots. When you connect those dots, it shows you the full picture.
Right.
So when you go to the doctor, we have trademarked what we call live vital intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Live vital intelligence is the ability for your doctor, your family members, and your caregivers to see your vitals in real time from anywhere in the world. So as we're sitting here, Happy, I'm in my house, you're over there. I could give you access to my account, and you can pull up my account right now. And at 8:20, you can see what my vitals are from where you are.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we call live vital intelligence, the ability to see what's going on with my health from anywhere in the world remotely. Right. This is so important for those people who can't get to the doctor.
Right.
This is important for people who don't have access to transportation. This is for those family island folks.
Mm-hmm.
The plane only goes to Athens twice a week.
Mm-hmm.
What happens between the plane? Don't get sick. Well, yeah, that's correct. Don't get sick. So we have invented this live vital intelligence to be able to give visibility to your health in real time from anywhere in the world. That includes if you have fallen, that includes medication intelligence, that includes your vitals, that includes your sleep patterns, that includes everything. It's in our system. Your authorized persons can see in real time.
Right.
So that's the difference between intelligence and just health data.
Good. So can AI alert us before we get sick? And where can it generally help people make earlier, better health decisions today?
That's a really good question, and that's what health intelligence is all about.
Mm-hmm.
For example, what we have built is, first and foremost, we have 6 doctors on our scientific committee. We built a platform that's based strictly on science.
Okay.
One of our doctors is a physician from Walter Reed. Another one is the chief of staff at an A-rated hospital in Maryland. Another one is a physician in Miami. We have 6 doctors on our scientific committee.
Mm-hmm.
Those doctors look at given insight and input into us building our platform. We have a threshold, and that threshold is based on a number of things that the doctors said. They looked at CDC, they looked at all of the FDAs, they looked at all this information together, and they came up with a threshold that says, if this is this, then that's that. So, for example, to answer this question, if your blood pressure is trending at 170 for 2 hours, our system will pick that up. And our system will say, you know what? This blood pressure has been trending for 2 hours at 170. That may be a sign. So we will send an alert, a yellow alert, to his family members that he has entered into the system. And that's where you will get an early alert. It's an automatic alert. Nobody has to do anything. The system is already built.
Right.
The alert will come to you in 3 ways. Push notification on your cell phone, text message, or email. Now, when we first started this, ironically, we had the alerts coming out audibly. And you would hear something like, Happy's blood pressure is high. Can you check on him? That didn't work so well. Okay. So people were mad, saying, you're telling all my business.
Yeah.
So we cut it out. So now we're sending.
Old people talk. Mm-hmm.
But real talk, people don't like that.
Yeah.
So we changed it to alerts that are not audible. And of course, that ensures the privacy of the individual.
Right.
So those alerts will go out early. Now, let's say that the individual's heart rate just dropped. The system is built to know that a drop in heart rate to 50 is not normal. That may be red alert. That will send in real time alert that says there's something going on with her heart rate. Call 911, 919 now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So those are the things that we send early to predict medical issues. And of course, when the alerts come on automatically, it's incredibly important for the family members to do something when they get those alerts, because if the family member doesn't,
right,
then that's a problem. Okay.
When it can be a big problem is if they don't do something and then something happens to the individual, then they just have big problems trying to deal with the fact that they didn't do nothing.
That is correct.
Better to do something about it. My watch, the sidebar a little bit. My watch is, I have to take this off sometime because I like to listen to my music with a little bit of feeling, right? But my watch is telling me, because where I had the chemo, and they tell me I have to watch my hearing. My watch is telling me sometimes that the sound, the environment I am in is too loud. I've been in an environment for too long. And I was like, how do you, I want to know how you adjust this, because some of it is just people talking loud. But, the sound levels, you have different sound levels for different things. So I say that to say that we already have wearables and stuff like that is collecting these data and passing it on to a system like yours makes it useful and meaningful, right?
That's correct. We're not a wearable company. We don't make wearables.
Right.
No, we don't. So to your point, we pull the data from the wearables, and that's when we do intelligence. Okay? So our platform, we're a unified platform. The core is our server. And here's what our server does to look at a holistic picture of you and your body. First and foremost, we're pulling your vitals every 30 minutes and analyzing and looking at trends. We're looking at trends for your vitals. Secondly, medication. We do medication intelligence. What does that mean? When you enter into our system, all of the medications that you're taking, we will tell you immediately if any medication is contraindicated, if any medication is duplicate, what are the side effects. And let me tell you why that's important. Because my mother-in-law was taking Norvasc, and then one doctor gave her Norvasc, the other doctor gave her amlodipine. Both for hypertension, no problem, right? Well, we didn't know, obviously, because sometimes parents don't tell the children stuff. Well, here's the issue. Norvasc, I sold Norvasc when I worked for Pfizer. Norvasc is the brand name. The generic name is amlodipine. So she was essentially taking the same medication from two different doctors. She was. People do it all the time. So now in our system, you scan it in our system and it tells you right away if there's a problem. Contraindication. If you're on blood thinners, you shouldn't be taking prednisone. Well, what if your doctor forgets to tell you that? And you take, one doctor gives you blood thinners and the other one gives you prednisone. What happens then? That's contraindicated. You put it in the system, it automatically tells you. And the doctor, everyone can see what's in the system, what you are taking, so that they'll know, oh, you can't give her this. Because left hand and the right hand does not always know what's going on. We pull everything.
And I find that to be more and more the case today, because when I was growing up, if my GP sent us to some specialty doctor, specialty doctor would normally report back to the GP. But that don't seem like that happens anymore. They leave it all to the individual, who might understand what the specialist told them, or might not remember. So to tell the even doctor. So that's another reason why these digital connectivity things are very great. So what becomes? Sorry, go ahead.
So they will tell you, oh, when you go to your doctor, take this, paper. You're not going to remember to take that paper, Happy. You're not.
No, I turn on my phone sometimes.
I can't even find the paper like tomorrow, right? So then now there's a disconnect. One doctor doesn't know what the other doctor is doing. Now, some places try, like if you go to Cleveland Clinic and Cleveland Clinic doctors, and there's you have that one unified system that has everything in there. Right. But if you go outside of Cleveland Clinic, or if you go outside of North Broward, then you are now in isolation, living in that silo box again.
Right. Yeah, I had an experience when I was at MD Anderson. All your information travels within your my chart system that they have. To all of the doctors in their system have access to it if you ever have to go in front of them. And even some of the hospitals that they partner with in the country, I call it a city, because Houston's medical thing is a city. That is not, that's just not a community. That's a city. That's huge. So I can imagine what some of these other ones are too. So what becomes possible when patients, caregivers, and clinicians can see what is happening between healthcare visits, not just doing them? What benefit does it give each of those type of people?
That is beautiful. That is exactly what we have built. The ability to see what's happening between visits, because you live your life in the world, not in your doctor's office. So our system is built to connect the patient, the caregivers, and the clinicians. Now, because of HIPAA and because of privacy, we don't do any of that. The owner of the account has to do that. So when we give you a link to sign up with our system, you go into the system and you add anyone that you want, and you give anyone that you want authority and authorization for whatever you want.
Right.
So you can give your daughter, your neighbor, your doctor, anyone access. We don't get involved with that.
Right.
But the ability to do that and to connect your entire ecosystem is there in our system easily. And we do it that way for privacy purposes.
Right.
Now, one thing I was sharing before is all of the things that we have on our unified platform, trending, One of the things that we have in the Bahamas that's a struggle is population intelligence. I was doing research to identify how many dementia patients we have in the Bahamas. That information is not available. You might find some information. What I found was 50 dementia patients in the Bahamas. I know that's not right. I know 50 people myself. So with our platform, you now have the ability for population intelligence. Because at a high level, if you have our technology and you have a number of people, let's just say Bahamas decides to adopt the technology and integrate with our system, and we'll be able to identify how many people have chronic diseases, how many people have dementia, how many people have gone to the hospital, how many people are on dyspneic. Now we have population intelligence, which we didn't have before. So this is important because people need to know this data.
Right.
Population intelligence allows us, by the way, to go and get funding. You can use it to get funding. So there's tons of grants out there. And the grants are based on data. So if you say you're looking for an Alzheimer's grant, well, great. How many Alzheimer's patients do you have in the Bahamas?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, but it's growing. So
tremendously.
Yeah. Philippa is asking the question here on the screen for you. She's in Boston, and she's a graduate student, so is Remember2 the name of the company, or is the name of the product, the service?
Yes, the name of the company is Remember2 Inc.
Okay.
The name of the product, and you can go and check out our website. The name of our product is rm2.ai.
Okay.
And that is the
website on the screen. Yeah, behind.
Yes. So you can go and check out rm2.ai. Check out our website. If you have any questions, you can just contact us, and we'll have somebody contact you. I think there's a phone number there as well. And, we welcome questions. We will have a rep call you if you want to have a one-on-one with us. So we have a full team behind us to provide the support and to answer any questions you might have. So please feel free to reach out to us. We are here.
Awesome. And thank you for your question. So I think we answered this one already, right? So let's go to the next question. How do we build trust in health intelligence from day one? Privacy, security, patients. And I just did a course with the ITU, a Chinese healthcare providers provided a course, and these are some of the same questions that they taught us about how to do it and what are the important things that we need to do in the digital world to build trust, particularly with AI. So how would you answer that question?
First and foremost, privacy is incredibly important. Compliance is incredibly important. Security is incredibly important. We are HIPAA compliant. We actually have an attorney on our team. We have a full compliance committee that consists of 4 individuals that's constantly overseeing to ensure that we stay compliant and that our platform is secure, and of course we maintain privacy for everyone. We are in the cloud, and our server is housed with AWS. Don't know if you're familiar with AWS. That's Amazon Web Services,
right.
Of the strongest and most secure platforms in the world. So that's where we house our server. And, the only thing I can say is, we went with the best because we want to feel secure. We want to ensure that we have your information secure, and we follow the compliance rules and privacy rules across the countries, not just in the US, but also in the Bahamas and worldwide. So we take that very, very seriously.
And if I could add to that, the Bahamas Data Protection Act is very robust, and it has a lot of teeth, And people think the Bahamas don't throw the hammer on people, but I wouldn't test it. Trust me. So
Absolutely not.
nobody wants to get those fines and penalties that come up with that especially for healthcare.
One of the things that I mentioned earlier, and this is how we ensure privacy. When someone signs up with our platform, we don't have access to the data. We send you a link. You use that link to go into your secure port and our secure portal, and you enter your information. You can't call me and say, Corlette, what's my number? What is the? No, that doesn't work like that. What's my blood pressure? I don't have access to your account. We give you a link. That link takes you to your account. You fill out the information. And I tell people, don't mess it up. Don't put the wrong email address, right? Because I don't want people calling saying, oh, okay, can you just help me with my blood pressure thing? We can't do that.
Right.
One, I don't have access to that. That's against the rules. It's a violation. So we give the link to the family members, and the family members take it from there and give access to whoever they want to give access to. We don't have control over that at all.
Yeah, and in the digital world, they have all kind of security protections, because some services now, when you access them, they will send you a temporary password or a link with which you have to then click on in order to get access. So you don't even have a password that stays the same throughout, right? It just keeps moving so that nobody else can get a hold of your password and use it.
Every time you log in, it's a new, you have to contact. Yes, every time. That's exactly correct.
Yeah. Cool. So trust, because Bahamians don't like trust nobody. Nothing. It take a while for them to trust you. So
and I don't think
that's
we
critical.
should be trusting. In general, I agree with Bahamians, though. I don't think we need to be so trusting. We don't ask information that we don't need. So I say, if people are asking information that's really not necessarily, you don't have to give everything. We just take the information that is needed for that purpose. We don't just collect data for collecting data purposes, right? So just be cautious if people are asking you, a lot of questions that may not be relevant to that situation.
Right.
I would. What do you need this for?
Yeah.
So, and I would say, when it comes to trust and health intelligence, I would say, please do your homework. Find out if the company is certified, and if the company is HIPAA compliant, because those things are important. Do not assume that all companies, no matter how big they are or how small they are, don't make that assumption. I would ask.
Right. Cool. So, one of the big things in our country is seniors and little darlings, as one politician referred to them one time ago, the children. So, how can health intelligence help seniors, persons with disabilities, and caregivers live healthier, safer, and more independently? I will tell you,
I love this question because
mom is independent, and she wants to be more independent. But as they get up, we have family who wants to step their steps for them, kind of thing. Right?
I understand. I love seniors and persons with disabilities. This is my soft spot here. So we have built this platform specifically for 3 groups. One, those individuals with chronic diseases.
Okay.
But we also build this for seniors and for persons with disabilities. And here's how health intelligence can help them. Because we are constantly overseeing and monitoring, pulling information from smart devices, we're able to identify if an individual falls. If the individual falls, an automatic alert goes to the loved one. If an individual's heart rate drops significantly, no matter what, the alert goes out. If the individual is at risk for wandering, we have customized and built into our system a customized geofencing platform. That means you can go into our system and put the date, time, and location and put a perimeter around a building so that if your loved one wanders out of that perimeter, You will
Right.
get an automatic alert with the GPS location where to find them. So all of this is housed in our system. So when you
Right.
give your family members authority to go in, they can, one, see everything that's going on. Because what people don't understand is that when your doctor looks at our system and see your holistic approach,
Mm-hmm.
you see, for example, that you know what, mom has fallen about 3 or 4 times in the last month. I know she didn't get hurt, but let me
Right.
just dig a little bit to find out why mom is falling. It could be indicative of cognitive decline. It could be indicative of medication that has side effects that's not working for her.
Right.
It could be indicative of something else that's going on. That's where the connecting the dots come in.
Right.
You can't connect the dots if you don't know these things, if they're not in one unified system.
Mm-hmm.
We have built it. Persons with disabilities, they too need to be reminded to do things. They too need to be monitored. Right? They too need to have their vitals, checked.
Right.
So everything that pretty much happens with seniors, it also applies to persons with disabilities to some point. So we've built this to provide the oversight for those persons to help them live more independently. Because what takes away your independence most, if you fall and break a hip,
Right.
if you have a heart attack or a stroke and you become disabled, those things take away your independence. And if you have something overseeing your health 24/7 and is now putting all of this together to analyze and to oversee
Right.
and let you know in advance when something is off, because off is not good at a certain age, that helps because that alert goes out and that forces your loved ones to go and dig and find out what's going on here. Why did I get this alert? Those alerts are there for a reason. They are early warnings. And so those things will help keep people living independently, because if you could prevent that heart attack, if you could prevent that stroke, or if you know that mom's falling, even though she didn't get hurt, maybe she's declining, maybe
Right.
we need to check,
Right.
right? You will now be able to see things and try to figure out how can you help mom?
Right.
What can you do? And again, it's just early warnings.
Yeah. And as you were talking, they remind me because I remember when we experienced some of our family members who would just pick up and start walking down the street, and then they couldn't remember how to get back home, right? So if you have it ring fenced, then alert will happen when they get outside the zone. So, but it gives them the independence in their zone, but and then it alerts you outside. Because the one thing they don't like is, seniors in particular, is for people to be crowding them, making them feel like they can't do anything on their own. Especially the older they get, the more they feel like you're taking away their life, or there's no reason for them to live anymore because they can't do anything on their own. And so if they can't remember and you have the GPS connection, and we have people find these persons who stray away and can't remember how to get back home quicker than us having to go to the police, and then the police say, oh, you have to wait 48 hours to report the person missing and and all that kind of stuff. So it has multiple benefits I could see coming out of this.
Do you remember last year, or was it this year, this lady couldn't find her dad? I think they were Bastian, maybe. They couldn't find that dad, and they went to the police, and they said, well, you got to come back. Well, you can't do anything. It's only been 24 hours. And 2 days later, they found the father in the neighbor's backyard, dead. What people don't understand with dementia, understand this. I had 65 people in my facility, and I had a lot of dementia patients, clients. It doesn't matter if you've been going to this place for 1,000 years. When you don't remember, you don't remember.
Right.
So people would get lost going to their mailbox.
Right.
People would get lost going to the same grocery store they've been going to for 50 years. Don't make the assumption that they've done that 1,000 times. It's okay. Please don't do that. That's unsafe. When they have dementia, you don't know what they will remember. So you want to have that safety mechanism. And I say, keep them. You want to have, if you have a house, make that house the perimeter.
Right.
Because push comes to shove, you know they're in the house. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Don't give them the ability to walk the neighborhood because they could still get lost.
Right.
Okay? So, that's one thing I will always remember that. It just happened in Nassau last year. And I want to stress, don't make any assumptions, please.
Yeah, but you talk about the people who have the ailments. You have people who don't have no ailment, can't remember what they're going upstairs for, what they're going in the kitchen for. And so I always say it's like a muscle, right? You could have a serious muscle injury or you could have a minor muscle injury, like a sprain or something like that, but it's still an injury. And they're all going to work towards the same thing if you don't treat it or prevent it from getting worse. That's my little scientific piece for the day.
If you don't use it, you lose it.
You lose it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the Bahamas pilot program that I think I read in the profile or the bio on health science. What did the data reveal that should those findings tell us before we scale it to help people want to scale it, understand how to scale it?
Okay.
Very
good question.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very good question. In 2025, we went to Dr. Deveaux, Ministry of Health and Wellness, and we said, listen, we've built this and we want to validate it. Mm-hmm. And we want the Ministry of Health to validate it. Dr. Deveaux agreed. We submitted an IRB. We submitted a paper to get approval to do a research study in the Bahamas. It was approved by the ethics board.
Okay.
And Dr. Deveaux, Dr. Indira Grimes actually was in charge of overseeing the study. Mm-hmm. And Dr. Crystal Roll was the principal investigator that actually conducted the study along with Dr. Keith Rivers in the Bahamas at PHA.
Okay.
Dr. Deveaux wanted to know two things. It was real easy for him. One, will this technology prevent hospital visits? Because as you know, Happy, we have about 100+ boarders in the hospital. And Dr. Deveaux wanted to see if we could help reduce the number of people coming in to the hospital for admission. Right. He also wanted to know, please tell me if this technology can save the Bahamas government any money. Right. Because if we can save money, we can use the savings to build something to put the borders and to do other things and fix different things, right? That makes sense. So we did the study. The study results were presented to the Ministry of Health and Wellness by our principal investigator of the study. And the results showed that RM2.AI technology can reduce hospital visits. None of the seniors in this study went to the hospital. The second component that Dr. Deveaux wanted to see was, okay, how much money y'all saving the country? And we had a data scientist that did all the analysis, and the results showed this particular study was just looking at seniors, not for chronic diseases. Let me clarify that. Right. And this study showed that for the senior population in the Bahamas, reducing hospitalization in seniors could save the Bahamas government $138 million a year.
Yeah, I could do with that.
Well, yeah, we can split that for sure.
Yeah,
So
there's plenty of things we can put in development with that kind of money.
100%, we can do that.
BPL being one.
Mm-hmm. Cafeteria, just stuff. There's just so much, we have this significant need in this country for senior facilities. That's my passion. Caring for the senior facilities. And so, yes, the cost savings have been presented by the principal investigator. And so our next step here is I'm preparing to meet with Dr. Darville about next steps with its clinical study results,
Right.
with the trial results. And so hopefully the partnership will be forthcoming because the study results have demonstrated exactly what Dr. Darville wanted it to demonstrate, so that we can make a difference, save money, and ultimately save lives of Bahamians. Because when you can reduce hospital visits, that means you're keeping people out of the hospital.
Right.
You're helping them. You can ultimately save lives. So it was a big win for RM2.ai, but also for the Ministry of Health.
Right. I'm surprised Dr. Deveaux didn't ask this specific question, because to me this is one of the biggest ones, not just for the cost that it costs for people in the family islands to come to get routine services, but the time and the time sensitivity of it, where you might have for emergency services, well, it's critical, and they might not be able to get. You mentioned there's only one flight to Auckland, and I guess it's Nauru and a couple of them every week, kind of thing, and then everybody else is on charter or evac. And you know what our charter scenario is in the Bahamas is needing work in terms of the regulation of that. So you take in risk double time to fly those planes. But if you're hard stopping or irregular and stuff like that, you can take whatever chance you can take, because you need to breathe, right? That's what I always tell people. So could health intelligence help connect the family islands to NASA in one national care network, regardless of where it is in the Bahamas?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So our health intelligence platform, we are able to provide the intelligence anywhere in the Bahamas. Now, let me clarify this for us. Anywhere in the Bahamas, as long as BTC and Alive have connectivity.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we essentially are pulling from smart devices. So if there's an internet issue, we may have an issue with pulling the data from the smart devices. Right. But as long as BTC and Alive, because we have a partnership with BTC and Alive right now. Mm-hmm. So as long as they have connectivity, we can continuously pull the data. And then, of course, that's when we can do something with the data. But the beauty about our platform is the live vital intelligence, which is amazing and so beneficial for those family islands. So, for example, if you are on Acklands, Long Island, one of those remote islands, and you don't have access to care at that time, you can set up your doctor to have access to your vitals and to your account in real time. So if there's a yellow alert, you can call the doctor, who you should have already given access to your account, say, doctor, something's going on. Can you go into my account and tell me what's going on? And they can go into your account and see Liveline and have a conversation with you intelligently, because they can actually see what's going on. They can see your heart rate, and here are the 4 vitals that we can pull right now. Heart rate, temperature, blood pressure, and oxygen. Oxygen. Those 4 things are the vitals that we are able to pull in real time and provide visibility to your loved ones and to your doctor. Now, let me say that if there's a red alert, your doctor can still go in for a red alert. But a red alert really means you need to be on the plane yesterday.
Right.
So that's the limitation. If somebody is in full blown, you may need to get to the hospital. Or the doctor can still look at your vitals in the system and say, you know what, we can see we got a red alert. We can see there's an issue. Get to the nearest hospital. Right. Or the doctor may say, you know what, why don't you go ahead and do this and take your medication, do this, do that. So they may be able to provide medical advice remotely. One of the things that I would love to see in this country, and this is where closing the loop. And so what our company has done is we have built this intelligence platform, but we've also closed the loop. So closing the loop means if there's something going on with you, which means you may have an incident going on, pending heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
Your loved one gets the alert, or your doctor gets the alert. Now what do? You got a red alert. Do you call 911 and wait for the ambulance to come get you? God bless you.
Mm-hmm.
So how we've closed the loop is one way of doing it that we have built and would like to recommend is a call center, so that you have access to physicians, so that your physicians, the physicians from the call center, can provide medical advice if you can't get to the hospital in time. So two things: the medical provider available, and two, a call center that will deploy some kind of medic to you in real time.
Mm-hmm.
That means the government would have to subsidize and fund that. That's a big ask. That's a big lift, but that's how you save lives.
Yeah. And I would add, put in there pharmacists too, because we had Dr. Marvin Smith on the show, and we were talking about some of the things that pharmacists do that the medical doctors are not trained for, and so they would miss, or they might give you, I wouldn't say incorrect information, but it was not as accurate as appropriate as what a pharmacist might be giving it to you. Well, I don't get into the details of the differences between the two of those, but we need to cover the two. And so that leads right into the big question that I ask, because I'm pushing hard for this new hospital to be a smart hospital. Now, I know when they open the door, it's not going to be a smart hospital, or it might not be a smart hospital. But the government has done some things recently that make it seem like they might be listening, because some of the things that we've done with the agreement with Estonia and the rest of those, and what we were doing with the Emirates, etc. This digital thing is a seriously big thing on the agenda, not just words, but action. But it takes implementation, and that's, to me, where we fall down in the Bahamas. Is when we get into implementation stage, then either we lose focus or something goes astray, right? So if the hospital is a smart hospital, where should RM2 AI and health intelligence fit within the digital ecosystem in relation to the hospital?
I think that first and foremost, that would be amazing. That is where we need to be. We've already built the intelligence. We've already built the ecosystem to do everything. It's a matter of incorporating it into the hospital. And now that means that everybody that comes into that hospital will be connected to the ecosystem to provide continuous monitoring throughout the hospital. While you're in the hospital, you get a ring, they give you a ring. And now that ring, for example, this is a ring, one of our, you connect this to the system.
Right.
When you go into the hospital, you have this ring. This ring is connected to the system. So now that means I don't have to be connected to wires.
Right.
My vitals being pulled from here. It's going to identify if I fall. Everything is going to be right here, connected to our system.
Right.
That is, something that we can do. We would love to do. We have the engineers. We have built this from scratch. We own our IP. We have our own engineers that build anything that we can think about. And to build a smart hospital, we are working with someone right now to build a smart city out of the country. So that's one of our strategic partners that we're talking with. about building a smart city. It's the same thing. Why not
Right.
do it here and start with our hospital?
Right.
But that's another country that's forward thinking. I think we are here today where we have the ability to be forward thinking and start make us the Caribbean, the one Caribbean country that will be first and be a trendsetter. Absolutely. And we have the ability to do that at RM2.ai to make
Right.
everything in that hospital smart when it comes to your health and the intelligence that will constantly be happening so that the things will be sent to the doctor in real time before things happen. Hey, doctor, this person may be at risk of falls. As a
Right.
matter of fact, Happy, we are working with the hospital in Maryland. We are writing a grant right now. We have developed a fall prevention algorithm at our company. We have created it, and we are going to patent this. We're going to be studying, we're going to have a study in 2027 that identifies, uses our algorithm to prevent falls.
Mm-hmm.
Study is done. We will now be able to say RM2.ai can prevent falls,
Right.
not just predict, but can prevent.
Right.
And that requires a lot of things coming together to oversee a lot of things with your health to determine whether you're at risk for falls. That includes putting a lot together.
Right. Right.
And we have done that. And before we can say that, we want to validate it with a clinical study with a few hundred seniors. That
Yeah.
is what we're all about. We are a company built on science. We don't just want to talk, we want to prove. When we
Right.
say,
Right.
we want to be able to say, this has been proven. And that's what we're doing.
So this question Philip is asking is about the cost of the service, and I guess where she's in the States because we haven't launched it here yet. But is that information on the website or someplace special that she needs to call into, or how does it
You know,
structure?
I'm happy to share that. I will tell you that we have not officially launched in the Bahamas, but we are in the Bahamas. We have about 100 people on it in the Bahamas right now.
Beta testers, okay. Mm-hmm.
No, not beta testing. No, it's already launched. It's actually done. We beta tested in New York
Okay.
and in Florida. We beta tested with the state of New York in 2024. We did beta testing, we did trials, we did a clinical study. So we are actually out on the market doing exactly what we're saying, what we're talking about right now. We're actually doing it. It's already done. We have doctors in the Bahamas. We have doctors in the States. We just signed up a large employer group in Florida. So we're out there. We are going to have our official launch in the Bahamas to roll out the study results on September 19th. So mark your calendars. We are having our official launch September 19th at Margaritaville, and we will have the doctors presenting the results of the clinical study. But yes, out on the market. So for consumers, we focus on large offices, businesses, government agencies. That's our sweet spot. But we also offer it to consumers.
Right. Okay.
So it's a different price for the doctors, for the companies, but for individuals, it is $69.95 a month, and that includes if we provide the wearable, that includes the wearable and the cost for the SIM card in the wearable. So, for example, if we were to provide the wearable, there's a SIM card in the wearable that we need to be in there so we can monitor 24/7. We don't leave it to the client to pay for the data.
Right.
Because payments, they have to wait till they get to the next place and get the data. We don't do that because your health does not wait in between visits, right?
Right.
So that would include the cost of the wearable and as well as the cost for the SIM card that we would have to pay monthly. And that's in the Bahamas, we use BTC and we use Alive.
Right. Okay.
In the US, we use T-Mobile.
Okay. All right. So could a patient's health intelligence travel? I think you've already answered that pretty much. Wherever you go, you're gonna have it.
Yes, absolutely. It doesn't change. The only thing that changes is the owner of the account giving access to the individual, to the doctor or to the
Yeah.
That is correct. And you just add their email address and they will you give them a link, and it's easy. We don't give access to anyone.
Yeah. Cool. That's good for data sovereignty, where the individual owns their own data, and not somebody else having
That's
control
correct.
over data and so forth. So what should we measure? Outcomes, access, cost, independent, or something else to prove technology is making healthcare more sustainable? What are the main things that we should be measuring in the Bahamas to try and, I guess, raise the value?
For me, it is being able to predict health issues before, because right now we are in a reactive state.
Okay.
We wait for everything. We wait for the train to hit us. We wait. Well, if we can really focus on prevention, I think that prevention is better than regret.
Right.
So I always say, let's focus on prevention. And prevention comes with being able to provide visibility to things that's happening that would not otherwise be visible. How can I have visibility to the subtle changes in my body with my vitals? I need to know that. If my vitals are changing, I want to know so I can go to the doctor. If my blood pressure is spiking and I'm at risk of having a heart attack or a stroke, I want to know. I want to know the correlation between my heart rate, my blood pressure, falls, dehydration. I want to know if there's any correlation between all these things and what that could mean. That only happens with intelligence. That now makes everything from silos to connectivity to see a full picture. So I want to know about connectivity, visibility, and having a visibility about everything that's going on with me, not just one thing in isolation and not just a snapshot in my doctor's office.
Right.
Cost, cost is relative. Everybody decides what cost they can bear. But our cost of $69.95 a month to oversee and to be that visibility arm for you to analyze and oversee things that's changing in your body, I think that's reasonable. I hate to say this, but I was saying when I go to get my nails done, it costs me $100 to $150 a month, and I pay that like a champ, and then I tip.
Where you find that? Only 150?
Okay, and don't even talk with my hair. Okay, and I end up. So it is what you prioritize, because your health is your wealth.
Yeah. The lady at
The
the
cost
smoothie
for
place the
business.
other day asked me why I go into the barber, right? So
It's for real though, Happy. For real.
listen,
What you
you see
doing
how
in the
good
bar?
this look? Look how good this look. The barber got this going.
Oh Jesus.
Cara down there, West Side Plaza barber. Yeah, man. They kicking it. Yeah. They keep me looking young. Right?
Well, you're looking young. You don't need to go to the barber for that, though, Happy.
Yeah. No, that's a social event. Don't worry about that. Yes.
No, you're right.
It's
When you
more
go to the
thing
barber,
than things.
never mind. You at a beauty salon, that's when you meet all your friends. Exactly.
So because and something to think about, we all about the new built environment, as we call it, and so forth. So digital and people, sun, and sea, and not the sun, and sea where tourists come from. We're talking about sun, and sea in terms of light industries, whether it's from the sun, whether it's from the ground, whether it's from the ocean, kind of thing. Those things we're trying to build is $100 billion economy. And so you have tied two of those pillars together, people and digital, right now, into a workable solution that is real. As you already say, you already passed all your beta testing and all that kind of stuff. You're launching on the 19th. Got the date in my head already. The 19th, but anything's happening on the 19th, but you got to find time for it.
Margaritaville, 3 p.m. You got to come.
Yeah. I think I'm supposed to be in Margaritaville already for the 19th for some mess, but anyway, that's another story.
There you go.
So you sneak out the back door and go to the next one. So
that's correct.
what could a truly intelligent national healthcare system look like for the Bahamas? Paint that picture for the audience out there. Because when I talk about the new built environment, people think I'm talking pie in the sky. And when I talk about $100 billion economy, you just said just now, earlier in the show, that your studies showed that you could save $100 million of one demographic in the Bahamas.
Mhm.
And that doesn't include three main ones that you're focusing on, or three other main ones you're focusing on, and then the rest of,
That's correct.
I say us, but even though I am one of them too. But
Mhm.
anyway. So what would that mean for our economy? What would that mean for the people and the quality of life? Because if they could save money going to the doctor, then that's money they could spend on food or whatever else they spend on power,
Mhm.
everything else. But how would you answer that question?
You know, the Bahamas spends $1.3 billion a year on health. Okay, 1.3 billion. This is a small country. That's a lot. 90% of that 1.3 billion is used by individuals with chronic diseases. 90% of it.
Mhm.
So if you think about intelligence on a national level and the financial costs and benefits to our country, if you think about every single person in this country that is at a certain age, one that has chronic diseases, should have some health intelligence oversight 24/7,
Right.
because you don't know when that heart attack or that stroke is coming. Another alarming statistic. I presented to an employer group here in Nassau last week. And this is what I presented to them. They said, oh, most of our employees are young. I said, that's good, great. Did you know that in the Bahamas, the cardiovascular events that occur in this country, 15% of them are with young folks between the age of 30 and 49.
15?
15% of the deaths from cardiovascular diseases in our
Yeah.
country from individuals age 30 to 49. Okay,
That's high.
so don't say that my folks are young. The young folks dying too from heart attack and stroke, and that is because of our lifestyle and our obesity. We are one of the most obese countries in the world.
Mhm.
How do we preserve our health? We started a national campaign, a national health campaign about healthy eating,
Right.
forcing people. You have a party and you have salad, that's going nobody eating the salad.
To me.
Okay? So it's exactly. Let's have a healthy campaign about proper nutrition.
Mhm.
Let's make sure that every person in this country that has chronic disease wears and has intelligence oversight with RM2.ai.
Right.
Let's educate people on caring for themselves and caring for others. The seniors, don't abandon them. Let's care for them. Let's provide the intelligence that's needed to prevent certain things from happening, to prevent the falls. Do you know that when seniors fall and break their hip, their lifespan is reduced to 1 to 3 years? That means that they will be dead within 3 years. 50% die in the first year. That's why we need the intelligence.
Right. Right.
So we can identify. And do you also know that seniors who have a fatal fall or a fall that breaks their hip, they had fallen 2 to 4 times at home before they actually had a fall with injury.
And you might
Yes, sir.
not tell you.
So
Yeah.
now, if you have this intelligence that tells you when someone has fallen, even if they're not hurt, it's important. You want to do something. So mom didn't get hurt. Beautiful. That's good.
Right.
What's the next question? What are you going to, why did you fall, mom?
Right.
Is it because mom was wearing the wrong shoes? Mom came out the bed too quickly and she got dizzy?
Right.
Did mom get up and she was going to the bathroom and the light, she couldn't see, it was too dark? Those are fixable things. Put a light in the hallway.
Right.
Move the rug off the floor. When mom is getting up and she's dizzy, tell mom, when you get up to use the bathroom, sit there for a little bit to get acclimated. And then also tell the doctor that. Tell the doctor that too, because that may be a sign of something else. You see these little things, all dots. I want to tell you something that most people don't know. I was talking to a doctor today who signed up on our platform today in Nassau. And I said to the doctor, I said, let me ask you a question. If every day at 5 o'clock, my heart rate goes up, my blood pressure goes up around 5 o'clock every day and stays up until around 8 o'clock at night, and then it starts to go down, what is that telling you when you look into the system? Because when you look in the system, you can see a pattern. Every day between 5 and 7, this person is elevated and they seem a little anxious. What is that telling you? That is telling you that that person may have sundowning dementia. So what that means is when the sun starts to go down, they get a little anxious. They may be for wandering. So now you can see that clearly. And then you show this to the doctor, and what would the doctor do? Now they want to go and run a test to see what's going on. Why? And now the doctor can say, you know what, this is important. Let me check and see if they have dementia. What's going on here? Let me treat that. Right? Let me figure out how to calm them down between 5 and 7. There's so many things that you can see. When you see the full picture, you can now use that information to better treat someone. This is actually what doctors try to do when they ask you 1,000 questions. Well, when was the last time you did this? When did you have a fall in the last 2 months? And they try to ask you these questions to connect the dots.
In 15 minutes.
Anymore.
Because
it's clearly
their consult is only most of the time 15 minutes, especially in the States.
Right. And they ask you
15 minutes.
They have a very short time to ask you a lot of questions to try to connect the dots to see what's going on with you. So with an intelligence system, when everyone has the intelligence system and now gives a holistic picture of what's going on with you when you're living your life, not just in the doctor's office at one time. That is the benefit of helping our country by providing health intelligence to the vulnerable populations. And the 3 vulnerable populations, in our opinion, chronic diseases, seniors, and adults with disabilities. Let's start with those 3 groups by ensuring that they have the intelligence that's needed to oversee their health and keep them healthy, safe, and living independently.
Cool. That's a lot of information, people. Suck it up, let it sink in. Watch the show over and over and over. If you need to share it, show it whoever you need to share it with so that they can get the information too and learn. Because whether you use the product or not, there's a lot of information that Corlette is sharing here. It's really beneficial for everybody. So Philippa asks us this different question here about is the service available in the U.S.? She says, sorry for going back to that point.
Absolutely. No problem, Philippa. Yes, the service is available in 2 countries at this time, in the United States as well as the Bahamas. So yes, we are available in the Bahamas and also in the U.S. We have clients all over the U.S. right now, and then also all over the Bahamas, including Abaco, Eleuthera, and Freeport and New Providence. Yes.
Right. Okay, and so we asked this question, which we asked of all of our guests. For the young people watching the show tonight, what's the one rainmaker opportunity that they can pursue right now to turn their creativity into enterprise or help build the new built environment? And we normally tie it to what you're presenting. So based on what you're doing and what you're saying, how can you inspire the young people to either partner with you all or do something that is similar that you see as opportunities that needs people to fill the void for?
I love young people. I've hired 2 young people and assisted them with OPT. You know what OPT is? Okay.
I've heard it, but I don't know what it physically is.
OPT is, when you have Bahamians in the U.S. and they finish with school and they need to work in the U.S.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
I've hired 2.
My son did that, yeah.
I've supported and helped 2 Bahamians do that First and foremost, if you are a Bahamian and you're in the US and you need OPT, I encourage you to reach out to people like myself to find out if there's any way that we can give you the experience. I am open to that. It just depends on what your degree is in.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I'm definitely open to that. When it comes to creativity and enterprise, I just love helping the young folks. They are our future, and I love when they're trying to do something for their future and for ours. So I would encourage you, look at what is happening right now. Intelligence is taking over. Don't be afraid of it. Identify a way for you to learn about intelligence and figure out how you can learn and how you can contribute. Once you learn enough so that you can eventually open up your own, so that you can do and be that person that's taken your creativity to the next level and being enterprising. I don't recommend that young folks come out of college and just jump right into starting their own business. I believe that learning from others, seeing different situations will help you significantly, a minimum of 5 years, in my opinion. Because when you learn from someone, that puts you in a position to be able to start and grow your business based on learnings from others and experience in your experience. So anything with intelligence, cybersecurity, right? Intelligence, cybersecurity. This is exactly what I'm telling my kids. Not that I'm sure they're listening, but cybersecurity. Listen, everybody under the sun is concerned with cybersecurity. If you like anything to do with cybersecurity, jump into that. Jump into intelligence. Be a trendsetter. Think outside the box. If you can think it, you can do it.
Yep.
If you can think it, you can create it. There's no impossible here. The impossible is you telling yourself
No.
that you can't do it and it cannot be done. That's a no. You can do it.
Yeah.
And that's my 2 cents.
What we think, we become. What we radiate, we attract, and what we imagine, we surely can achieve. That's what we say at the beginning of the show. And you just brought that up. So we've been thinking about a lot of things today, and maybe the future of healthcare isn't just about building more hospitals, buying more technology, or collecting more data. Maybe it's about using intelligence to help people live healthier, safer, more independent lives. And if AI can help us recognize meaningful changes earlier, connect care across our islands, and help us make better decisions, then the real question isn't simply how smart is our technology, it's how much better are we taking care of our people. Because the smartest country may not be the one with the most technology, but the one with that uses the technology to take care of people better, care of people is. Corlette, thank you for coming on and sharing these nuggets that you did tonight, because this is putting some glue into areas where people had doubts. And to have a Bahamian be a part of a system structure like this, I know Sir Franklin would be proud of you all, because he always talks about entrepreneurship and how there's so many opportunities in the Bahamas for us to do, but we don't tend to jump for it. And you and your partners and whatever you all have synergized yourselves, your knowledge, etc., and come up with this product, this solution that I think is going to be a big win once you get it rolling and maturity starts kicking in. So we have to say thank you. We can bring you back now, because after the launch we weren't here about how things going. So maybe
yes,
time or something like that.
That'd be great, and you get to meet our engineer, our medical team, our doctors, and everyone that's behind the company. So it would be great if you could be there with us. I appreciate that.
Awesome. And
Fantastic.
so we will see you when we see you, where we see you all the time. And so, folks, thank you kindly for being a part of the show. Share it, ask your questions, drop comments in the link even after the show finishes, because it helps other people get exposure to the show. YouTube is a very predictable person. It shares what you want shared. So if you don't want to share, don't say nothing. But if you want to share it all over, drop plenty comments, like, and share it yourself also. So the next time, thank you, Corlette. Peace out.
Enjoyed the show? Then subscribe to us for more educational and inspirational content. Ring the bell so you never miss a show. Let's change the narrative, 242.